Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper and there's another video on Raid Shadow Legends. I was about 20 minutes into my This Week in Free-to-Play. I woke up late, I slept in, I stayed up till like 3 in the morning. Stupid me. So I'm having my coffee. I'm ready to start doing my This Week in Free-to-Play. Like I said, about 20 minutes in. Haven't even checked anything. Mental note, always check everything before you go. Because while I was sleeping, this dropped. Everyone had everything opinion. And I wanted to do a blind reveal. I had 12 messages on Discord in the content creator chat / all that. So a lot of opinions obviously already on this system. I want to react to it blindly. Unfortunately, I did this once. OBS crashed and I lost all that I did. So this is not blind reveal, but I still haven't seen anyone else's opinion. So this will be just my thoughts on it as we go through. So let's just watch this video by Cirilla. Boom, right there. By the way, she's looking a little skinnier than normal. Cirilla, eat, just keep healthy. Eat your vitamins. Take your vitamins. Do whatever you do with vitamins. All right, let's watch this.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our latest preview video. Today we're going to talk about the new systems for helping you get the most value from your duplicate champions. As duplicate champions is a multifaceted issue, we analyzed a variety of situations and identified a few key issues that different groups of players face. And because there were a few different situations and issues, we had to come up with a few different solutions. Something that applies more to newcomers looking to progress quickly, something that may be more useful for mid-game players looking to make the step up, and something that will be more beneficial to end-game players with pretty bloated champion collections.
So the first thing I had said, and obviously the video actually kind of addresses it, I don't think you needed several solutions for different player types. I think you needed something that would, depth of game. A free-to-play end-game account versus a whale end-game account. Those are the two kind of things that I'm thinking of. Is there something that's going to help people who are free-to-play or low spend, even when they're in the late end game, even if they're part of that end game player group, compete with the end game players who are obviously just going to have a load of champions. Like myself, for example, I have 6 Lugans, 5 Cephalias, 3 Manayas, and a partridge and a pear. Anyway, you know what I mean? I want to know, how is this going to help? So that was my initial thought. I don't think that newcomers need a dupe system. I think mid-game players just want to know that if they pull a dupe, it will have a payoff. They don't need it to pay off immediately. They just need to know that it will pay off, because you don't want to stay in the mid-game. You want to get through the mid-game as quickly as you humanly possibly can. And though maybe the dupe system will help with that, it's more important that knowing that once you reach that end game, where you're at that point where a dupe will help you, that's what the people just want to know, have hope. People want hope. So I don't necessarily agree that you need the several solutions, but we'll move on.
We wanted to make sure there was a solution that everyone could potentially benefit from, no matter where they are in game. Alright, enough talk, let's get into it. You all know the sparring pit in your bastion, where champions bash each other on the head to gain experience. Well, it's getting an upgrade. The new Guardian Ring will still have all the functionality of the sparring pit inside, but it will also have a bunch of new mechanics, including faction guardians, champion empowerment, and champion unbinding. You won't know what those are yet, but don't worry, I'll take you through them all. Let's start with the feature the ring is named after, faction guardians. The faction guardians tab will let you assign duplicate champions of different rarities to become faction guardians. This means they'll boost the stats of all champions of the same rarity in that faction.
Same rarity, okay.
When you first visit the tab, you'll see a list of all factions. Tapping on any of the banners will bring up a new tab with the duplicate slots available. Each slot gives a stat bonus to all champions of that faction and of that specific rarity.
Okay, let's take a look at this. So it's 10% HP, 10% attack, plus 30 accuracy and resistance, 10% defense, and 10% or plus 10 speed, plus 6 speed. I find that interesting. Why is it less speed to rares and epics, but everything else, and less accuracy? It is arguably more important. Is that because of the level? No, because these are locked, so you don't see what's on there, and it's already, so it's whether it's a 5 or a 6-star, it doesn't seem to matter. It's just having a dupe. I don't agree with this. That's the only thing is, um, that 7 accuracy, if that were a 30 accuracy, that'd be game changing for me. Wouldn't change my PvP output, really, on a rare, but it would absolutely be game changing for me in the early game if I was able to get a dupe, anything, to be able to unlock that. And as a free to play player, even rares aren't exactly easy in a faction to get. I'm not saying you won't get them, but it's not automatic. So I like the idea. I actually like the idea. Originally, I didn't. I thought, oh, you don't need 3 different ideas, but I do like this idea here. To be honest with you, just with the fact that I don't like that the speed and the accuracy resistance changes. The other thing I'm concerned about is I don't want my Molly to have accuracy, but if I'm in dwarves, I want to have the +10 speed and +10 defense, which is kind of a meme. Though I don't know if I have enough dwarves to even unlock all that. Which is the other thing is now again, I'm already playing speed game. If I need my Molly to be 10 speed faster, or sorry, Molly, Trunda is who I meant, to be 10 speed faster, and I can't get this because dwarves is newer, or Shadowkin, right? If I need ninja, if I'm using Kimmy, I need them to be faster. Whereas a whale will have that 10 speed over top of me, so it's just another thing. But overall, I mean, those are nitpicking. I think overall, I think it's a really good idea.
It's a bit similar to Great Hall bonuses, but faction-specific instead of affinity-specific. Slots are unlocked in order, so after you get your bonus to HP, you'll unlock the slots that can get you bonus stack, which will unlock the slots for defense, and so on. For example, let's say we have 2 Raglins. You'll be able to put them both into the first legendary Bannerlord slot.
I like that that it doesn't feed the dupe. So I have 2 Snicks, I have them fully built, I have 2 Ethos, they can automatically slot in there, and they can be...
and unlock a 10% HP boost for all legendary Bannerlords you own, so including your Raglins. Both of which you can still use. If you also had a pair of Barons, you can put them in the second slot that was just unlocked to get an attack boost, and so on. As I mentioned, champions you make into Faction Guardians can still be used in battles. As long as you don't get rid of either champions, you'll get the bonus.
Won't unlock.
And Faction Guardians aren't only available for legendaries. Epic and rare champions can also become Faction Guardians. Since you don't lose your champions when you assign them to be Guardians, you can still use them. For new players, this means you can boost the stats of your rare and epic champions and bring them more in line with the strength of standard legendary champions that you're having to fight against.
Interesting.
If you don't have many legendaries yet, this can be a big help in closing the gap and winning some harder fights in the arena or the dungeons. For mid-game players, this flexibility will help you conquer.
On my free-to-play, I think I only have 2 dupe epics. I might have fed them both, to be honest with you. Curious. Anyway,
the arena, or beat some of the raid's tougher challenges, like some of the trickier secret rooms in the Doom Tower. And as your collection grows, you'll be able to benefit from some pretty sweet stat boosts if you manage to summon a couple of duplicate legendaries. For endgame players, this means you can have your cake and eat it too. You can get the stats boost from assigning some legendary faction guardians and keep your duplicate champion available in case you want to build a second of a certain champions, with this different artifact setup for a completely different role. And for everyone, no matter where you are in the game, bonus stats mean that all of you can be a bit bolder when experimenting with artifact setups. Okay, let's move on to our second option, champion empowerment. The principle is pretty simple. You select a legendary champion and feed them their duplicates to permanently empower them and give them a stat boost. You can do this up to 4 times. But keep in mind that you'll permanently lose the champions you used to empower another, so think twice before you do it. Like we said, we limited it, so while they can get a nice...
So this was their original idea, and the thought of limiting it was the big sticking point for whales, because they're like, I have 8. Mr. Tham, I have 8 duchesses, and now okay, so now you've gotten rid of 4 of them. But what now? What if I pull more in the future? Which they address, but in this particular fact, the other thing I don't like is this really puts the RNG. I mean, we've talked about this when they first announced this part of the thought process. It's really, this is the one part that hasn't been just like, there's nothing they can do. I guess they have to do a dupe system, and no one's gonna like it. It's the problem that if I get 10 Trundas, if I just have that weird RNG, I'm going to boost 2 of them to 4, and I'm going to be way more powerful than me, my actual account that has 6 Lugans, who you could give me empowerment to 20, and I still don't think, from a PvP, which is the end game focus, or should be, is a end game focus, it's still not going to make him viable. It doesn't. There's no empowerment in the world, unless the stats are so insanely boosted that Lugan's going to suddenly become a platinum push option, if you know what I mean. So that's my biggest concern with this, is that you're now, not only are the whales getting the advantage, but the lucky whales are getting more of an advantage, or the attrition whales, I'll call them, those who just pull so much that even RNG can't stop them from getting enough dupes of the champions they need dupes of. So and the flip side is if it's a champion that's insanely necessary to have multiple of, like Kymar, I wouldn't take I'll keep my 2 Kymars. I won't feed a Kymar. But someone who has 7 Kymars will have 3 Kymars built, and they'll use the other 4 to feed one to make them super. So there's definitely a whale. It's definitely whale-esque, but we always knew it was going to be, so I can't really fault them for that. This is the part that there's no good answer.
Nice boost, you can't make them into unbeatable monsters. We want to make sure it won't throw game balance off. We also realize there are a few
Boost
champions
speed.
you can't
That's
ever
the
get
number one
duplicates
thing.
of. Lydia the Death Siren,
This I
Dawn of
hate.
Sky Height,
This
We're
I
Soul
hate.
Cage, and a few others.
I don't know why I hate it so
that
much,
these
because it
powerful
doesn't make
champions
sense.
aren't left out of this feature, we've assigned other champions from their faction
don't
to
let them
act
be
as
boosted.
their surrogate duplicates as far as empowering is concerned. For example, you'll be able to use Physics to empower Lydia.
Like, why
Anyway,
physics?
the entire list will be available in the game once the Guardian Ring goes live.
That makes no sense to me, because you could just have them not be boosted. Why do they need to be boosted? Lydia's an endgame champion already. She doesn't need stat boosts. Stop. Because now people with Physics, with void legendaries, and Physics is now a good champion, a really good champion. So what are you going to boost? You need 10 Physicses? What are the odds? Like, you need Physics, you need Lydia, and then you boost 4, you need 8 more. So you need 9 Physicses, which makes it even harder to boost those champions. And that's just that example. Who's it going to be for Ramatu? Who's going to be, like, are there going to be champions that you're like, whoa, why did you choose a useful champion? Why not use a champion from the Dark Elves that's useless? Why use Physics is, I guess, my whole point. I'm not a fan of that aspect 100%.
Finally, we have the Champion Unbinding feature that is also exclusive to Legendary Champions. In this tab, you'll be able to permanently release your Legendary dupes to get a special resource called Life Tokens. You'll lose those dupes forever, but you get a life token for giving them their life back. There's nothing fancy about the process itself. You choose a champion, triple-check them to make sure you don't need them, then release them from your service to get a life token. From there, you go to the Token Trader tab and
even keep a
behold
straight
several
face, just
shiny
like,
legendary
life
champions
token.
that you can get using life tokens.
Okay. If this is our first pool, I don't have Tomb Lord, so that's nice. But Manaya, I like Manaya. I think she's useful. I've used her in Doom Tower, but most people have the belief that you need Cornor for Manaya to be useful, and so getting a Manaya, unless you have Cornor, is probably not a big deal. And there's other champions that can do her job. She's got tons of heals, so it's really nice. I think people underrate her for that. But there's other champions that have tons of heals, especially that new the new Knight's Rev, I think, or is it the new Dwarf? The one that has the extra percentage for each buff to heal more. Like, it's that champion arguably would be better than Manaya at healing. So, a little bit concerned. Molly is good. Was a fusion, so I guess it's good for people who missed out on that fusion. Same with Foley. Um, Foley's a good champion. He's a usable. Molly's a usable champion. Fushan. The rest of them, it's only Manaya that I'm a little bit weird about. And I guess I can't. The problem here is, the only problem here is and maybe they're only showing 6. Maybe the initial is 20. I want to know the frequency at which they rotate this out. I want to know what champions are going to be rotated in and out, because at the end of the day, so let's talk about the whales, the people that you have to appease, because I know free to play players are like, hey, this doesn't help me, who cares? But high spend players, whales, are the ones that help this game continue to grow, because they're the ones spending the money. So free to play back on the backs of whales, and it should be a symbiotic relationship. Free to play is on the back of the whale, cleaning the whale's barnacles off, right? Like, I don't know, that I'm going way too sea life, but it needs to be a two-way street. So the whales are putting the money into the game, but the free to plays are making it more enjoyable for the whales to play by having a greater breadth of people and blah 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 blah. That's how it should work. And from a whale perspective, I don't think this answers it, because it's only going to help those who don't happen to have these champions. For me, I'm going to have trade in enough tokens to get Tomb Lord, and then I'm going to walk away. And maybe that's not awful in implementation, because there is that first feature. So if I feed too many of my duplicates in, then that first feature, I lose a lot of the bonus stats from the faction specific thing. So maybe this is enough. Maybe I have to see it in implementation, but I'm a little concerned. What happens if someone comes along, some high spend whale, and they don't have any of these champions? They're in La La Land. They're loving it. They just increased their camp. They won the lottery, and then someone else has dupes of all these champions, and it does nothing for them. For me, it's only Tomb Lord, and I can only buy it once, so it's not even. I can't even empower Tomb Lord by using all my tokens into multiple Tomb Lord. So a little bit.
Different legendaries will have a different price based on their power, and you only get each of them from the token trader once. With this feature, you'll be able to get rid of unwanted duplicates and choose a champion you do want from the token trader list instead. We're going to be making a variety of champions available from the token trader, including some you might have missed out on from champion fusion events if you weren't lucky enough to be playing Raid back then. Folly, Molly Tankard, Fushan, Minaya, and a few others will all be available. Oh, and it's the holiday season soon, so the very special, very jolly Sir Nicholas will be coming to town as well. That's about it for the video. Be sure to let us know how things go. Once you've had a chance to play with the new features, we'll be monitoring your feedback, as always. Until next time, happy raiding!
All right, final thoughts on this. I think that I voiced kind of my reservations about the middle, the empowering, but I think they'd already gone down that path. We'd already heard about it. I don't think it changes anything. I still think that's a major concern. Other than that, I'm okay with. I'm surprisingly okay with it. Maybe it's just because I had such a low expectation of what they were going to implement. So, I mean, I like the fact that. So, if it was just empowerment, I'd be pissed, because I'd have a Super Lugan, I have a Super Cythalia, but neither of those are game changers, and that doesn't change. I'm still kind of annoyed, because those of us who don't have 7 Trundas, Duchess, Siphi, Warlord, those key champions, Kymar. Although I have 2 Chris. I might actually feed one in, to be perfectly honest with you, even though I built them and everything. Maybe I won't. I don't know. That's a tough one. But so I was my initial reaction back when they mentioned it was this is awful. But now I have multiple avenues, so I'm not as upset about it. I can get the life tokens from the Lugans. Maybe I do empower him to use the 4, but I still have this lonely buddy right here, buddy number 5. I can use him for a life token, right? And the Sathalia, I'll use all of them. But Manaya's, I don't care if she's even more empowered. So maybe I'll use both. Plus, I also have to keep in mind the faction specific. So I've got a lot of dupes and bannerlords, so I should be able to run across the table in bannerlords for legendaries, and that'll help out the ones that I actually use: the Septimus, the Sathalia, the Septimus. I think those are the only two I use. In fact, I don't even have any bannerlords out, which means I don't use them in any of them in arena. I use Sathalia in arena now and again, so that's not 100% true. But I do like that idea. Excuse me, a little bit, but I'm not sure how much I like it. There's still a lot to be desired about it, but I do think that they tried to cover all their bases. If you want to keep the legendaries, you get bonuses. If you want to make a +4, we still need to see what the stats mean. I hope they don't touch speed, because that's the one, probably speed or crit damage, because again, that could unnecessarily imbalance PvP content if on specific champions. Although the flip side is, you could probably argue that could unnecessarily imbalance a lot of things, simply because you're you know okay, so if I give more defense to Duchess, she's already a pain in the ass to kill with reaction gear. Now she's got 10% more defense. Plus they've +4'd her, so maybe that's another 10% defense. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that works. The flip side of that is, everyone in the whale verse will have some champions that they'll be able to completely overpower. Um, so overall, I think it addresses everything, the concerns. What if I already made a dupe to 60, which I have a couple, right? You can use them in the faction wars, the faction specific piece, faction champions. What if I have more than the +4, or it's a champion that's not worth plus empowering? You have the life tokens. The last thing is my concern on the life tokens, which is probably the best part of this whole system for everyone to be generally useful. Is, hey, if you have a dupe and you don't want to empower, then boom, you can get a life token, and you get enough of the life tokens, you can get a champion. How many life tokens does it take to get a champion? How many champions will be available? Because if it's only those ones they showed, then meme. And how often will they switch those champions out? That's critically important, because I might get a Molly so I can +1 my Molly, um, but I don't need Manaya. I don't think I don't need to +1 her. Maybe I do. Maybe I get one so I can still +1 her and go in faction. So thoughts, like, I would probably still get a Sir Nick if I didn't have anything better to get with them. Only because it's Sir Nick, right? And I wouldn't mind having. I have two built, so I wouldn't mind having one of them charged up a bit. So overall, I think this is the best scenario they could have had. I'm still skeptical on the imbalance piece on many of the facets, and as we get closer, we'll see how much those stats are, and how much it really changes. I think RNG is more. I think at the end of the day, for me, I would have preferred getting rid of the empowerment piece and just went with the life tokens. Maybe some other middle piece, or make the empowerment only usable outside of arena, so that, great, I can +4 my Sathalia to make it better for Doom Tower, but it doesn't imbalance arena. Or, let's face it, I don't have a Duchess, but Mr. Tham, who's already got an army of Duchesses, he can +4, which means his Doom Tower is just going to be that much easier, and they implement new dragons and all the rest. He's going to be ready to go. But it doesn't unfairly imbalance his 3v3 or his arena to his favor, just because he happened to get more Duchesses and I happen to get stupid Lugan as the dupe de jour of my team. So those are my thoughts on that. Overall, as a whole, I think I give it about a 7.5, maybe an 8. I think this is maybe my expectations are so lowered that they came in. I do like overall what they've done, except for the few things that I mentioned. So overall, yeah, I'm okay with it. It doesn't solve all the issues, but at least it's something. It's solid. It's robust. It's dynamic. It's got different facets which appease different levels of play, levels of spend, and we'll see how it works in game. I hope it works really well. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. But 25 minutes on a 6-minute video is probably me talking too much as usual. So I'll just end it here and go. I want to thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.